Maya stood at the viewing window of the transport ship and watched Station 442B grow larger in the distance. The massive space station looked like a giant metal flower floating in the darkness of space. Its spinning sections caught the light from the nearby star and threw it back in bright flashes. Maya pressed her hand against the cool metal wall and felt the vibrations of the ship's engines through her fingers. She was nervous, more nervous than she had ever been in her 19 years of life. Maya had faced wild dingoes in the Australian desert. She had survived 6 months alone in the outback when she was only 12 years old. But this was different. This was the Galactic Naval Academy, and she was about to meet aliens for the first time in her life. The transport ship docked with a soft thump that Maya barely felt. Other passengers began moving toward the exit doors. Maya picked up her single bag and followed them. The bag contained everything she owned in the galaxy, a few changes of clothes, some personal items, and her acceptance letter to the Academy. The letter was worn from being folded and unfolded so many times. Maya still could not believe it was real. The docking bay was huge and filled with beings that looked nothing like humans. Maya tried not to stare as she walked past them. There was a creature that looked like a giant blue insect walking on its back legs. Its eyes were large and black and seemed to look right through her. Near the wall stood something that looked like a cross between a bear and a lizard. It was covered in thick brown fur and had scales on its arms and legs. A small floating device approached Maya. It spoke in a mechanical voice that somehow sounded friendly. "Cadet Maya from Earth." "Yes, that's me," Maya said. "Please follow me to the processing center. Welcome to the Galactic Naval Academy." Maya followed the floating device through long corridors filled with more strange beings. Some were tall and thin with skin like tree bark. Others were short and round with too many arms. A few looked almost human except for extra eyes or different colored skin. Maya noticed that many of them stopped talking when they saw her and whispered to each other as she passed. The processing center was a large room with dozens of desks. Each desk had a different alien sitting behind it. Maya was directed to a desk where a being that looked like a purple octopus was waiting for her. "Please place your hand on the scanner," the octopus being said through a translation device. Its voice sounded like bubbles popping. Maya placed her hand on a glowing panel. The scanner beeped several times and flashed red. "There seems to be an error," the being said, looking confused. "The scanner says your bone density is 3 times normal levels. Your muscle mass readings are also very high. Are you sure you are not wearing any artificial enhancement devices?" "No, I'm not wearing anything like that," Maya said. "I'm just human." The being made some notes on its computer and tried the scanner again. It flashed red again. "Your gravity world rating shows as Class XII. That cannot be correct. No species from a Class XII world has ever applied to the Academy." "Earth is my home world," Maya said. "I think the scanner is working fine." The being stared at her with all 6 of its eyes. It typed something quickly into its computer and then looked back at her. "You are from Earth, the planet with the acid rain and the carnivorous plants." "It doesn't rain acid everywhere," Maya said, "and most plants don't eat people." The being shuddered and handed Maya a small device. "This is your room key and class schedule. Your room is in Section C, Level 15. Orientation begins tomorrow at 800 hours Galactic Standard Time." Maya took the device and followed the signs to Section C. The corridors were wide enough for the largest aliens to walk comfortably. Maya felt very small as she walked through them. She passed groups of alien cadets talking and laughing together. They all seemed to know each other already. Her room was small but clean. It had a bed, a desk, a chair, and a wall screen. Maya sat on the bed and looked at her class schedule. Advanced mathematics, galactic history, tactical theory, combat systems, and physical training. It looked like a normal military school schedule except for the part about galactic history. Maya unpacked her few things and tried to get some sleep. The bed was comfortable, but it felt strange to sleep in artificial gravity. On Earth, gravity pulled at her constantly. Here on the station, the gravity felt lighter and somehow wrong. The next morning, Maya arrived early for orientation. The main hall was filled with hundreds of alien cadets. Maya was the only human in sight. She found a seat near the back and tried to blend in. A tall, thin alien with silver skin walked to the front of the hall. When it spoke, its voice was deep and commanding. "Welcome to the Galactic Naval Academy. You represent the finest young minds from 43 different worlds. Here you will learn to serve the greater good of our galactic alliance." Maya listened as the alien explained the rules and expectations of the academy. Everything seemed normal until it started talking about safety. All cadets must follow safety protocols at all times. Remember that what is safe for your species may be dangerous for others. Respect each other's biological limitations. After orientation, Maya went to her first class, Advanced Mathematics. The classroom was filled with beings she had never seen before. She took a seat near the middle and tried to look confident. The teacher was the same blue insect being she had seen in the docking bay. Its name was Professor, according to the nameplate on its desk. "Today we will learn about quantum field calculations," Professor said. "These calculations are essential for faster-than-light travel." Maya opened her notebook and began taking notes. The math was complex but not impossible. She had always been good with numbers. "Who can tell me the solution to this equation?" Professor wrote a long mathematical formula on the board. Maya studied the equation for a moment and raised her hand. "Yes," Professor looked surprised that someone had answered so quickly. "The solution is 847.3, assuming standard galactic constants," Maya said. The classroom became very quiet. Professor checked the equation on its computer and looked shocked. "That is correct. How did you calculate that so quickly?" "I used the shortcut method we learned in Earth mathematics," Maya said. Professor made a note in its files. Maya could see other students staring at her and whispering. She was starting to understand that being human made her different in ways she had never expected. 3 weeks passed quickly at the academy. Maya learned many new things about the galaxy and the different species that lived in it. She was a good student, and her grades were among the best in her class, but being smart did not make her popular. The other cadets whispered about her when they thought she could not hear them. Maya's ears were sharper than most aliens realized. She heard them talking about her strange human habits and her dangerous home world. Some called her the when they thought she was not listening. Maya tried to make friends, but it was difficult. When she smiled and showed her teeth, many aliens stepped back in fear. Apparently humans were one of the few species that had evolved sharp teeth for eating meat. When she talked directly about problems, other species thought she was being rude. Most galactic cultures preferred to speak in gentle, indirect ways. Her only friend was a blue-skinned girl who sat next to her in galactic history class. Had been curious about humans ever since Maya arrived. "Do you really come from a world where everything tries to kill you?" asked one day after class. "Not everything," Maya said, "just most things." "What was it like growing up there?" Maya thought about her childhood in the Australian outback. The red desert stretched for thousands of kilometers in every direction. During the day, the temperature could reach 50 degrees Celsius. At night, it dropped below freezing. Poisonous snakes hid under rocks. Giant spiders lived in dark corners. Wild dogs hunted in packs and were always hungry. "It was normal," Maya said. "You learn to pay attention to everything around you. You learn to move quietly and think fast. You learn that one mistake can get you killed." Shivered, "I could never live in a place like that. My home world is very peaceful. The most dangerous animal we have is a small bird that sometimes steals fruit from gardens." Maya smiled but did not show her teeth this time. She was learning to be careful about that. Not everyone at the academy was friendly like. The blue insect professor who taught mathematics seemed to dislike Maya more each day. During class, he would ask her the hardest questions and look annoyed when she answered them correctly. Maya learned that was not just a teacher. He was also a senior cadet who had stayed at the academy for advanced studies. Humans think they are so clever, Maya heard him say to another cadet after class. But they are just brutes who solve problems with violence instead of intelligence. Maya pretended not to hear him, but her face felt hot with anger. She had never solved a math problem with violence. She used her brain just like everyone else. Had 3 friends who always agreed with everything he said. There was a huge gray alien who looked like a walking boulder, was very strong but very slow to think. Then there was a thin, quick alien with green skin and large eyes, could move faster than Maya could follow with her eyes. The last one was another member of species who the ground walked on. The 4 of them often sat together at meals and talked loudly about how the academy was accepting lower quality students than it used to. They never said Maya's name directly, but everyone knew who they were talking about. The situation got worse during physical training class. The class was taught by Commander, a bear-like alien who had been in the galactic military for 30 years. Commander was fair but demanding. He expected every cadet to give their best effort. The training course was designed to be challenging for all species. There were obstacles to climb over, walls to jump, and targets to hit with training weapons. Maya found the course easy compared to running through the Australian desert while avoiding real predators. She finished the course in half the time it took most other cadets. When she hit the targets with training weapons, her shots were more accurate than the computer expected. When she climbed the walls, she moved like she had been doing it her whole life. "Excellent work, Cadet," Commander said after Maya finished the course. "Your time is a new academy record." Behind her, Maya heard make a disgusted clicking sound. "Sir," said, raising one of his 4 arms, "is it fair for a cadet from a high-gravity world to compete with those of us from normal environments? Her advantages are biological, not skill-based." Commander looked at with dark eyes. "Are you saying that cadets should be handicapped because of where she was born?" "I am saying that true skill should be measured fairly," replied. "Anyone can be strong if they come from a violent world. Intelligence and technique are more important than brute force." Maya felt her hands close into fists. On Earth, if someone insulted you like that, you settled it quickly. But she was not on Earth anymore. "Cadet," Commander said, "would you like to demonstrate technique instead of strength? We have training swords that measure precision rather than power." Maya nodded. She had learned sword fighting from her father before he died. It was one of the skills that helped her survive alone in the outback. Commander handed her a training sword that glowed with blue energy. The sword would record how accurately she could hit specific targets without using too much force. Maya moved through the sword course like a dancer. Each strike hit exactly where it was supposed to hit with exactly the right amount of force. The sword beeped happily each time she scored a perfect hit. When she finished, the course computer announced her score. It was the highest score ever recorded by a cadet on the precision test. The training hall was completely quiet, even had nothing to say. "True skill," Commander said slowly, "is being able to use exactly the right amount of force at exactly the right time. Cadet understands this better than most." After class, Maya gathered her gear and started to leave. She noticed that and his 3 friends were following her at a distance. They stayed far enough back that they could pretend they were not following her, but close enough that Maya knew they were there. Maya's Earth-trained senses picked up details that other species would miss. Was moving differently than usual. His steps were too careful and too quiet. Kept looking around to make sure no one else was watching them. Hands were moving in small, nervous gestures. Something was wrong. Maya had felt this same feeling in the outback just before predators attacked. The feeling had saved her life more than once. She decided to take a longer route back to her room, hoping the feeling would go away. But when she turned down a side corridor, she could still hear their footsteps behind her. Maya decided to stay late in the combat systems classroom after dinner. The room was empty and quiet, which gave her a chance to practice with the holographic training system without other cadets watching her. She wanted to improve her technique scores. Commander had been right when he said skill was about using exactly the right amount of force, but Maya still felt like she was holding back too much during training. The holographic system created images of different aliens for combat practice. Maya set it to the easiest level and began working through basic fighting moves. Each time she struck a holographic target, the computer measured how much force she used and how accurate her strikes were. Maya was concentrating on a particularly difficult combination when she heard the classroom door close behind her. She turned around and saw standing near the entrance. His 3 friends were with him, and "Do not stop practicing on our account," said in a voice that sounded too friendly. "We came to watch the famous train." Maya felt the same dangerous feeling she had experienced in the corridor earlier. These 4 had not come here by accident. She looked at each of them carefully and noticed things that made her worry. Was holding something behind his back. Had moved to her left side while she was not looking. Was standing near the emergency alarm button on the wall, but he was facing away from it instead of toward it. "I was just finishing up," Maya said. She started moving toward her gear bag, which was near the door. "Wait," said, and his voice was no longer pretending to be friendly. "We need to talk to you about something important." Stepped sideways and blocked the door. Maya stopped moving toward her bag and turned to face all 4 of them. "We have been thinking about your performance in classes," continued. "Your grades are very good, but we think there has been a mistake." "What kind of mistake?" Maya asked. She kept her voice calm, but her body was ready to move quickly. "The academy is for civilized beings," said. "It is not for violent primitives from who solve everything with their fists." "I have never hit anyone here," Maya said. "Not yet," said with a nasty laugh. "But everyone knows what humans are like. You are all killers and savages." Maya felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Anger would make her sloppy, and being sloppy could get her killed. Her father had taught her that lesson when she was very young. "You do not belong here," said, "and we are going to prove it." He pulled out the object he had been hiding behind his back. It was a shock prod, a weapon designed to deliver painful electric jolts. Maya recognized it from her academy weapon training classes. "If you resign from the academy tonight," said, "we will tell everyone that you realized you were not smart enough for advanced education. You can leave with some dignity." "And if I do not resign?" Maya asked. "Then we will have to convince you," said. His large eyes looked excited at the thought of violence. Maya calculated her options quickly. The room had only one door and was blocking it. The 4 aliens had her surrounded, but they had made mistakes. They were standing too close together. Shock prods were dangerous weapons, but they only worked if you could actually hit your target with them. Most importantly, they did not understand what they were really facing. Maya had spent her entire childhood fighting things that were bigger, faster, and more dangerous than these 4 aliens. She had killed a full-grown dingo with her bare hands when she was 13 years old. She had outrun a pack of wild boars across 15 kilometers of desert terrain. She had survived 6 months alone in one of the most dangerous places on the most dangerous planet in known space. These 4 academy students had no idea what they had just started. "I am not going to resign," Maya said quietly. "Raise the shock prod and step toward her. Then you leave us no choice." He moved faster than Maya had expected, but not faster than she was prepared for. The shock prod came down toward her shoulder in a clumsy strike that would have been easy to avoid even for a normal human. Maya was not a normal human, she was a She stepped inside's reach and drove her fist into his midsection with exactly the right amount of force. Not enough to kill him, but enough to empty his lungs and send him crashing backward into the wall. The shock prod fell from his hands and skittered across the floor. 3 seconds had passed. Attacked from her left side, moving with the quick, darting motion that his species was famous for. But Maya's eyes had been trained to track the movements of Earth creatures that moved even faster than. She had grown up watching for the strike of desert snakes that could attack and retreat faster than most beings could blink. She pivoted on her right foot and brought her left elbow around in a short, sharp arc. The elbow caught in the side of his head just as he was changing direction. The impact sent him spinning sideways into a rack of training equipment. 6 seconds had passed. Tried to use his species' long, prehensile tail as a whip to strike Maya from behind while she was dealing with. It was a smart tactic that might have worked against most opponents. Maya's hearing, sharpened by years of listening for predators in the Australian outback, caught the whistle of the tail moving through the air behind her. She ducked low and grabbed the tail with both hands as it passed over her head. Using his own momentum against him, Maya spun around and threw him across the room like a piece of rope. He crashed into the far wall and slumped to the floor, dazed but not seriously injured. 9 seconds had passed. Finally reached her. He was the largest and strongest of the four, and he had been moving slowly but steadily toward Maya since the fight started. His species was built like living rocks, tough, heavy, and very difficult to hurt with normal attacks. But Maya did not use normal attacks. She had learned to fight from her father, who had been trained by the Australian military before he moved to the outback, and she had learned to survive from the unforgiving environment of her home world. As reached for her with his massive arms, Maya dropped to one knee and struck the side of his leg with the edge of her hand. She aimed for the spot where his knee joint was weakest, and she used exactly enough force to disable the joint without causing permanent damage. His leg folded under his own weight, and he toppled sideways like a falling tree. He hit the floor with a sound like a boulder rolling down a hill. 12 seconds had passed since had raised the shock prod. Maya stood in the middle of the room, breathing normally and completely uninjured. Around her, 4 alien cadets were groaning in pain or lying unconscious. The entire fight had been recorded by the classroom's standard monitoring systems, which recorded everything that happened in academy training rooms for safety purposes. Maya walked over to the wall communication panel and pressed the button for academy security. "This is Cadet in Combat Systems Classroom 7, she said calmly. "I need medical assistance for 4 injured cadets." Then she sat down and waited for help to arrive. Academy security arrived 3 minutes after Maya's call. They found her sitting quietly against the wall while 4 alien cadets lay scattered around the room in various states of injury. The security chief, a tall gray alien named Officer, looked at the scene with confusion. "What happened here?" he asked Maya. "4 cadets attacked me," Maya said simply. "I defended myself." Officer looked at the unconscious aliens, then back at Maya, who did not have a single scratch on her. "All 4 of them?" "Yes, sir." Medical teams arrived and began treating the injured cadets. Had a cracked rib and was having trouble breathing. Had a concussion that left him dizzy and confused. Had bruises along his entire back where he had hit the wall. His knee was severely damaged and would need surgery to repair. Word spread quickly through the academy. By morning, every cadet and instructor knew about the fight in Combat Systems Classroom 7. The reaction was immediate and intense. Some faculty members called for Maya's immediate expulsion, saying she had used excessive force against fellow cadets. Others argued that she had only defended herself against multiple attackers. The Academy's disciplinary board met in emergency session. Maya was called to testify about what had happened. She sat at a small table in front of 5 alien instructors and told her story exactly as it had occurred. She did not try to make herself look better or worse than she was. "Did you intend to seriously injure these cadets?" asked Professor Keld, an ancient alien whose species lived for over 500 years. "No, sir," Maya said. "I used the minimum force necessary to stop the attack." "Minimum force?" asked Dean, a thin alien with silver skin. "4 cadets are in the medical bay. One needs surgery." "Yes, sir," Maya said. "I could have killed all 4 of them in the same amount of time. I chose not to." The room became very quiet. The instructors looked at each other with worried expressions. "Are you saying you held back during this fight?" Commander asked. He was the only member of the board that Maya felt might understand her position. Maya thought carefully about how to explain. On Earth, when a pack of dingoes attacks you, you have 2 choices. You kill them quickly or they kill you slowly. I learned how to disable threats without killing them because sometimes the threat is not something that wants to eat you. Sometimes it is just something that made a mistake. The board reviewed the security footage from the classroom. The recording showed clearly that his friends had cornered Maya, threatened her, and attacked her with a weapon. It also showed that Maya's response had been swift, precise, and controlled. While the board deliberated, news of the fight reached the galactic press. The story spread across dozens of worlds within hours. "Cadet defeats 4 attackers barehanded" was the headline on most news services. Public opinion was divided. Some species were horrified by what they saw as human violence. They worried about allowing dangerous predators into civilized galactic society. Others were impressed by Maya's skill and restraint. They pointed out that she could have killed her attackers but chose not to. 3 days after the fight, Commander came to Maya's room. She had been confined to quarters while the investigation continued. "The board has finished reviewing your case," he said. "But first, I want to ask you some questions about your background." Maya nodded. She had expected this. "Your file says you are from Australia on Earth. Can you tell me more about that?" "Australia is a continent on Earth," Maya said. "I grew up in the outback, which is the desert region in the center of the continent." "And your parents?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. She did not like talking about her parents, but she understood that Commander needed to know. "My father was killed by a crocodile when I was 12, she said finally. "My mother died 6 months later defending our settlement from a pack of wild dingoes." Commander looked shocked. "You were orphaned at 12. How did you survive?" "I knew how to find water and food in the desert. My parents had taught me to hunt and track. I had weapons and knew how to use them. I walked to the nearest settlement, which took about 3 weeks. 3 weeks alone in the desert at age 12. The desert was safer than staying at our settlement without my parents. Other humans would have come eventually to claim our land and supplies. I would not have been strong enough to stop them." Commander made notes on his computer tablet. "How did you come to the academy?" "Earth's military academy offered me a scholarship after I graduated from secondary school. My scores on the survival tests were higher than anyone had ever seen. When the Galactic Academy opened applications to human students, the Earth Academy recommended me." "Do you know why Earth wanted to send students to the Galactic Academy?" Maya shook her head. She had never been told the political reasons behind her acceptance. "Earth is trying to prove that humans can be valuable members of galactic civilization," Commander said. "Your performance here will help determine whether other humans will be accepted in the future." Maya felt a heavy weight settle on her shoulders. She had not known that she was representing her entire species. "The board has made its decision," Commander continued. "The 4 cadets who attacked you will face disciplinary action, will be expelled for organizing a premeditated assault with weapons. The other 3 will be suspended for 1 semester. "And me?" Maya asked. You acted in self-defense against multiple armed attackers. The board finds no wrongdoing in your actions. However, you will be transferred to advanced combat training classes. Your skills are too developed for standard cadet courses." Maya felt relief wash over her. She would not be expelled. Her future at the academy was secure. But Commander was not finished. "There is something else. The press attention has been significant. Many people across the galaxy are now aware that humans are attending the academy. Some of the attention is positive, some is not." "What does that mean for me?" "It means you will be watched very carefully from now on. Every action you take, every decision you make, will be seen as representative of your species. That is not fair to you, but it is the reality of your situation." Maya nodded. She understood responsibility. The Outback had taught her that every decision mattered because the wrong choice could get you killed. "One more thing," Commander said as he prepared to leave. "The Academy has received requests from several Earth families who want to send their children here next semester. Your success has opened doors for others." After Commander left, Maya sat on her bed and thought about what he had told her. She had come to the Academy to learn about space and aliens and technology. Now she discovered that she was also an ambassador for her entire species. It was a big responsibility for someone who had grown up alone in the desert. But Maya had learned long ago that surviving meant adapting to whatever situation you found yourself in. She was in a galaxy of civilized beings. She would find a way to make it work. The academy was different after the fight. Maya noticed the change immediately when she returned to regular classes. Other cadets who had previously ignored her now watched her with a mixture of respect and fear. Some moved out of her way in the corridors. Others whispered excitedly when they thought she could not hear them. But the biggest change was in how the faculty treated her. Professor Keld approached her after advanced tactical theory class. "Cadet," he said in his ancient, creaky voice, "I have been teaching at this academy for over 200 years. I have never seen a student solve complex tactical problems the way you do." "Thank you, sir," Maya said. "Your approach is unusual. When other cadets see a problem, they try to find the most elegant solution. You look for the solution that works." Maya thought about this. On Earth, elegant solutions are nice, but they don't keep you alive if they don't work. Professor Keld nodded slowly. "Would you be willing to share some of your problem-solving methods with the other cadets? I think they could learn much from your perspective." This led to Maya's first teaching assignment. Once a week, she led a seminar called Practical Problem Solving. She taught other cadets how to think like someone from a dangerous world, how to consider all possible outcomes, how to plan for the worst-case scenario, and how to make decisions quickly when time was running out. The seminars were popular. Cadets from dozens of species attended to learn what they called thinking. Maya learned that most galactic species came from safe, stable worlds where problems could be solved slowly and carefully. They had never needed to develop the quick, practical decision-making skills that came naturally to humans. Maya's friend was one of her most enthusiastic students. "I never thought about backup plans for my backup plans," said after one seminar. "On my world, plans usually work the first time." "That must be nice," Maya said. "On Earth, the first plan usually gets you killed." The seminars also helped Maya understand her fellow cadets better. She learned that quick movements came from evolving on a world with many flying predators. Slow, steady nature was perfect for his species' method of group problem-solving. Evan's arrogance made sense when Maya learned that his species had never faced serious threats on their home world. 6 weeks after the fight, Maya received an unexpected visitor. Came to her room one evening, walking slowly and carefully. His ribs were still healing. "I came to apologize," he said without his usual confident manner. Maya was surprised. "You don't need to apologize to me. You were punished according to Academy rules." "Yes, I do need to apologize," said. I was wrong about you. I thought humans were nothing but violent primitives. I did not understand that your violence comes from intelligence, not from stupidity." Maya invited him to sit down. He moved carefully, still favoring his injured side. "I have been thinking about our fight," continued. "You could have killed me easily. I saw the security recording. You chose exactly how much force to use. That required more control than I have ever seen from anyone." "I didn't want to kill you," Maya said. "I just wanted you to stop attacking me." That is what I did not understand before. I thought strength meant hurting people as much as possible. You showed me that real strength is about hurting people as little as necessary. Paused and seemed to struggle with his next words. "I have spoken to Dean about your teaching seminars. I would like to attend them if you will allow me." Maya was quiet for a moment. Forgiving someone who had tried to hurt her was not easy, but holding grudges was a luxury she could not afford on Earth, and she saw no reason to start now. "You can attend the seminars," she said, "but you have to participate honestly. I won't tolerate any attempts to disrupt the class or insult other students." Nodded gratefully. "I understand and thank you." The next semester brought new changes. 3 more human cadets arrived at the academy, twins named, and Maria Reeves from the Amazon rainforest, and a quiet girl named Sarah from the Siberian tundra. Maya helped them adjust to academy life and taught them how to interact with alien species. The new humans brought their own unique skills, and Maria had grown up tracking jaguars through dense jungle and could move almost silently through any terrain. Sarah had survived 3 Russian winters by herself and could find food and shelter in the most hostile environments. Together, the 4 humans began to change how the academy thought about survival training. Commander asked them to design new courses that would teach alien cadets skills they had never needed before. The courses became so popular that cadets from other academies requested permission to attend. Maya's reputation spread beyond the academy. She received messages from humans across Earth who wanted to know about life among the aliens. She also received messages from aliens who were curious about Earth and human culture. One message came from a very unexpected source. It was from the Galactic Council itself, the governing body that made decisions for dozens of species across the galaxy. "Cadet," the message read, "your performance at the Academy has been noted by the Council. We would like to meet with you to discuss humanity's role in galactic civilization." Maya showed the message to Commander, who looked impressed and worried at the same time. "This is a great honor," he said. "The Council rarely speaks directly to individual cadets, but it also means you will be under even more scrutiny." "What do they want from me?" Maya asked. "I think they want to understand what humans can contribute to the galaxy. Your fight with those 4 cadets made many species realize that humans have capabilities they had never considered." Maya thought about this. What capabilities? The ability to remain calm under extreme pressure, the ability to make life-or-death decisions quickly, the ability to protect others even when it puts you in danger. These are rare qualities in galactic civilization. The meeting with the Galactic Council was scheduled for the end of the semester. Maya spent weeks preparing for it, studying galactic law and diplomacy. But she also spent time thinking about what it meant to be human in a galaxy full of aliens. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest or the most technically advanced. But they had something that most other species lacked. They had learned to survive in conditions that would kill almost any other form of life. That experience had taught them lessons that could be valuable to a peaceful galaxy. They knew how to make hard decisions quickly. They knew how to work together when survival depended on cooperation. They knew how to protect things that mattered, even when protection came at great personal cost. On the day before her graduation from the academy, Maya stood again at the viewing window where she had first seen Station 442B. But now she was not alone. Maria, and Sarah stood with her, along with and several other alien friends she had made during her time at the academy. Even was there. He had become one of Maya's most dedicated students in the problem-solving seminars. "Are you nervous about meeting the council?" asked. "A little," Maya admitted, "but I think I understand what they want to know." "What is that?" asked Sarah. Maya looked out at the stars beyond the station. Somewhere out there were the worlds where her friends came from, safe, peaceful places, where the biggest danger was a fruit-stealing bird or a minor disagreement between neighbors. And somewhere out there was Earth, where every day was a battle for survival and every mistake could be your last. They want to know if humans can be trusted with the responsibilities that come with being part of galactic civilization, Maya said. They want to know if we can use our dangerous skills to protect instead of to destroy. "And can you?" asked. Maya smiled, and this time she did not worry about showing her teeth. Her friends had learned that human smiles were expressions of happiness, not threats of violence. "We can learn," she said. "We've been learning since the day I arrived here." Maya graduated first in her class and was commissioned as an officer in the Galactic Navy. Her first assignment was to command a mixed-species unit responsible for rescue operations in dangerous environments. It was exactly the kind of job that required someone who understood both how to survive in hostile conditions and how to work with beings who had never faced serious danger. She was no longer the dangerous outsider who had arrived at the academy 8 months ago. She was a bridge between the human understanding of survival and the galactic commitment to civilization. She was proof that differences could make the galaxy stronger instead of more divided. And when new human cadets arrived at the academy, they found someone who could teach them not just how to survive among aliens, but how to help aliens survive in a universe that was sometimes more dangerous than any of them had ever imagined.